On Overdrive today, we drive the Volvo C40 Recharge and tell you what makes the BMW iX India's best-selling luxury EV. Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I'm Soini Dutt. Just 2 months ago, we brought you a first look at the Volvo C40 Recharge, which is an all-electric coupe derivative of the XC40 Recharge SUV. Now, we do know that this will be assembled at the Volvo's Karnataka facility, and we thought we'll get a closer look at this SUV before its launch in September.
Now that's some stunning scenery, right? And EVs are meant to preserve that. Now Volvo has been at the forefront of this with its ambitious electrification plans, not just worldwide but also here in India. And the XC40 Recharge has been a good first step. It's one of the more popular luxury EVs that you can buy in the country. So it's no surprise that we're now seeing this, the C40 Recharge. There's more to it than meets the eye. It's not just the smarter coupe SUV version of the XC40. It also happens to be Volvo's first electric-only model. So let's see what it's all about. Now this is not surprising, but the cabin of the C40, at least from here, from where I'm sitting in the front, is very similar to that of the XC40 Recharge, the EV version as well as the IC version. So you have the same 9-inch infotainment screen here with that quite crisp and useful Google-based infotainment software. But like we said before, this whole setup is now looking quite dated, especially this button here and the generally compact, portrait arrangement. Like the new Volvos, it gives you Google Maps right in front of you, which is very useful. It gives you just enough information to keep you satisfied. The trip computer is hidden away only when you need it. It's a bit fiddly to use from here, but once you get used to it, it's quite useful. To drive home the point that this is a sustainable vehicle, even the materials in the cabin have been sustainably sourced, and Volvo seems to have gone to quite a great length. Now, the biggest differentiator is this topographical pattern that you see here. At night it's backlit, but this is made entirely out of recycled PET bottles, and that same can be said of these door inserts here too. The topographic design and also the general door cards, they've been made from recycled plastic, wine corks and forest litter, if you will. These mats that you see here, each of them is made from 71 recycled plastic bottles, and this suede material, which by the way feels very nice to the touch, that too has been made from recycled materials. There are no ventilated seats, but you get 10-way adjustable front seats, connected tech, auto-dimming outer mirrors, wireless charger, powered boot lid and pixel LED lighting. The strong practicality of the XC40 has also been carried over here, helped by added space in the central tunnel. You get deep door bins, a removable dust bin and storage nets in the cabin. That said, rearward visibility is heavily compromised by the raked rear windscreen. You can drop the rear headrest to improve this, but not by a great margin. Being a Volvo, there's a strong focus on safety here. You have level 2 ADAS with a suite of forward and rear collision avoidance functions, a 360-degree camera, front, side and curtain airbags, a driver knee airbag and hill descent control. It's very apparent that there's less headroom here. Volvo says there's about 42 mm less headroom, so if you are especially tall, then you might not find it very comfortable. And also the seat back, we think it might be a touch more upright than say some regularly styled SUVs in this segment. But that depends on you, because the seat back itself is quite firm, so over long distances you will like it. It will keep you comfortable, and the contours will generally keep you comfortable over long distances. Now, like some EVs, yes, you do notice that the floor is a bit high, so you do sit in a slightly knees-up position and under thigh support is not as good, but it's also not bad by any stretch. In fact, as you can see, with the seat set to my position, there's quite a bit of knee and leg room. But the CMA architecture that the C40 is based on, it also features IC cars on it, which means that you still have this central tunnel for all-wheel drive systems. It's not a completely flat floor like how you would expect in a pure BEV. The C40 Recharge has a 78 kWh battery pack like the XC40 Recharge. Although Volvo claims a significantly higher WLTP range of up to 530 km against the XC40's 418 km. The company says it has managed to achieve this by switching to a new battery pack with a different chemistry and higher energy density. There is also an improved battery management system. An 8% gain has come from the new Pirelli low resistance tyres, while the more aerodynamic shape has added a further 4%. The C40 Recharge makes 408 PS and 660 Nm via a dual motor setup, again the same as the XC40. But here the outputs are split 40-60 between the front and rear axles against the 50-50 in the more upright SUV. The 0 to 100 kmph time comes in 4.7 seconds, 0.2 seconds quicker than the XC40.
What's very interesting to note is that Volvo has no intention of launching a gas-powered counterpart of the C40 Recharge, which goes to show the brand's intention of going completely electric by the year 2030. We'll take a very quick break here on the show, but coming up on the other side, we'll tell you a lot more about the driving ability of this electric SUV. Welcome back, you're watching Overdrive. We're still reviewing the all-electric Volvo C40 Recharge. This all-wheel drive SUV promises a WLTP range of 350 kilometers on one single charge. And what is very interesting is that it impresses us with performance numbers like 0 to 100 kmph in just 4.7 seconds.
Now to get in and start driving the C40, it's a refreshingly simple process. There's no starter button anywhere. There's not even a parking brake, electronic or otherwise. So you get in and you pull the selector to D and the car is just on and you can just set off immediately. Now this is unnerving at first, especially if you aren't used to electric vehicles. But it does make sense in this context considering an EV doesn't really need a starter button. The powertrain delivers performance from standstill in a calm, measured way, with that instant EV torque softened to make things easier. A heavier dab of the throttle unshackles the motors, which is when you realize that overtakes don't need to be planned with this car with its significant outputs. The C40 gushes forward, but again in a secure way with no scrabbling from the wheels for traction. This truly makes for unstressed driving, the near silence adding to this sense. If anything, the only giveaway of the Brisk Performance is some grating through the wheels as the stability systems manage grip. Look a bit closer, and a more practical consequence of this is that the C40 seems to be barely tickling its motors in slow traffic. This should be great for range and again goes with the calming theme of the SUV. Now, again keeping with that simplistic theme, there aren't any drive modes or regen modes with the C40 Recharge. What you just get is an option to either switch on or off the one pedal driving or leave it in auto. Now the auto works as they usually do in some other EVs, some other luxury EVs, so it seems to use the ADAS cameras and radar to detect curves and to detect traffic and manages the regen accordingly. You do get some variations. You get an off-road mode that we tried out at a mile trail and it does seem to do what it says on the tin. And there's also a steering firm mode which just weighs up the steering. The steering itself is nice and precise. It's nothing spectacular. You won't feel especially connected to the road, but it gets the job done. It's predictable, it's precise, so in that sense it works just fine. Now what will leave you surprised considering that the C40 is a heavy car, it's over 2.1 tons because of all the strengthening that goes into a Volvo and generally the weight of the battery. So you expect it to not be the best handler, right? But that's not quite the case. Aside from all the advantages of an EV having the battery low down and so on and so forth, there's genuinely good body control with the C40. So on a twisty set of road like the one we're on right now, you do feel confident you can get a smooth rhythm going very easily. As you can see right now, the car is very predictable. The throttle is precise, so you know exactly how much performance you are feeding it, and the car reacts quite naturally. Now coming to the ride quality, now it runs 19-inch wheels, which they look great, especially with that Aero-inspired design. And there is some compromise to be made, especially with the low resistance tires. So you do notice that sharper bumps, potholes, broken roads, you feel them, and the car kind of thuds noisily over them. With the C40 Recharge, the blanked out fascia housing the cameras and radar, and the refreshed face with the more angular lighting and the arrow-like motifs in the bumpers are all shared with the XC40. The C40 is 10mm wider and a noticeable 56mm shorter than the XC40 though. The roofline falls back quite aggressively and the 19-inch alloys are done up in a flashy Aero-optimized design. But the rear is easily the most striking angle. The split spoiler merges with a heavily raked windscreen, leading into a high-set boot lid. The spoilers on the boot lid are functional, but the lighting too has been streamlined to go with this. The segmented top section merges into a crisp C pattern that extends into the boot lid. It's well integrated into the concave look of the boot lid, giving the C40 quite a heavy dose of style. Now with this more stylish shape, of course, you will have to make some compromises that comes in the way of boot space. So you realize that the C40 has 39 liters less boot space than the XC40, and this spare wheel parked here is not quite convenient. Of course, you can take it out for shorter trips and so on, so you will have to manage around this. But what the C40 gives you, which a lot of EVs don't surprisingly, is that there's an actual frunk which you don't see very often in electric cars for some reason. And in this car, however, it's quite useful. It's a 31 liter frunk, so you can put your charging cables here and maybe some other knickknacks if you don't want to open the boot and so on and so forth. So yeah, there is still practicality within the scheme of things with the C40. Expected to be priced at around Rs 60 lakh, the Volvo C40 looks set to be another success. Bookings have already surpassed that of the XC40, and it's no surprise. The added range may be the biggest draw, but the driving experience is a soothing one, peppered with just the right degree of enthusiasm. The cabin continues to remain distinct despite its age, while the new styling will be a strong statement out on the road, enough to gloss over the slight practical disadvantages.
At present, the Volvo XC40 Recharge retails at 56.90 lakh rupees ex-showroom, and we are expecting the C40 Recharge to command a premium of 2 to 3 lakh rupees when it launches. We'll get you all the details from the launch floor in September. Until then, we'll take a very quick break here on the show, but coming up on the other side, we'll get you acquainted with India's best-selling luxury EV, the BMW iX. Stay with us, you're watching Overdrive.
Just another Volkswagen.